Going live. You are looking live. It's Sold Out Giants Stadium, where today the 15-0 New York Giants are taking on the 0-15 Carolina Panthers. Why are the Carolina Panthers 0-15? Because they suck. And welcome to the Gridiron. Everybody, anybody all out there going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening or during the day, whatever part of time it is in your part of the world. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I greatly appreciate it. Anybody want to watch the replay of this? Once again, thank you. Guys rock. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. I'm going to try to go about 30 minutes here. Once again, as we always do. Anybody got anything to say? Just throw it in the chat box. I check up on it periodically. So throw something in there and I'll get back to you and we can talk some Giants football. But we got the injury report came out. That's like the game status, right, for the Giants. Now, unfortunately, Kayvon, who was hopeful to participate in this game, is now doubtful. Doesn't mean that a shadow of a doubt that he won't be playing, but it's just kind of doubtful. Now, on the injury report, there's two guys for the Giants who are doubtful. And once again, it's our two edge rushers. So cross your fingers and all that stuff and everything. Hopefully, now we got 8 days, right, before their next game. Monday night, home against the Cowgirls, right? Huge game. Okay, the Dak Prescott list. Dallas Cowboys. Now, just, it is what it is. Giants have a hard time beating the Cowboys. Period. Giants have an even harder time beating Dak Prescott. He's a very good quarterback. Yeah, you know, ain't no denying that. Okay, the man. Yeah, can't say so much in the playoffs, but if we just narrow our focus on regular season. He's a very good quarterback. He's a winner, okay? And he always gives the Giants a very hard time, right? It is what it is. But he won't be there Monday night, okay? It might quite possibly be the Cooper Rush show, all right? And I'll tell you what, if we can get ourselves those two edge rushers in there, would be nice. I mean, even one. I mean, if Kayvon was close, okay, but no guitar, this Sunday, hopefully following Monday, hopefully he'll be in there. If not, if we can get both, that would be absolutely fantastic. We'll have to wind up waiting and see who else will be available. But there's 4 guys that are out, and there's 2 guys that are doubtful. Okay, and then of course, we have Kadarius Toney, who is questionable with a hamstring. So I really wouldn't even. It's simply amazing. I go over this every video. Absolutely simply amazing how the guy can't run more than 2-3 pass patterns without getting injured. Simply freaking amazing. But we got Nick McLeod. He's out with a hamstring. Okay. Aaron Robinson is got his appendix removed. Okay, so he's out. Right. Hopefully, if we're lucky, he'll be back in time for the Cowboy game. Quite possible that, there's no, with an app, getting your appendix removed, there's no written rule. Well, guys, come back in a week. Well, guys, 2 weeks. No, there's nothing in that. Okay. So hopefully, if we're lucky, he might be back in time because, the Cowboys have some nice receivers and they get him on the field would be huge. Okay. Unfortunately, Wandale Robinson. Oh man, I laugh. I don't mean to laugh or make fun of it or not. It's simply amazing. I mean, the guy catches one pass and he's out for the rest of the game. It's just unbelievable. It's his knee, kind of day by day kind of thing. Okay, he's out. If we're lucky, maybe he'll be back in time for the Cowboys as well. John Feliciano, thankfully, okay, he was in full participation in practice, so he'll be playing. Then you got the 2 edge rushers, Azeez and Kayvon. All right, they'll look, both are doubtful. Once again, does not mean 100% they're not playing. They're just doubtful. Okay, you're gonna throw it 90% chance that they're not going to play, but There is a small chance. Jason Pinnock with his shoulder, he's out. Okay. But safety Jason Pinnock is out with his shoulder. But however, safety Dan Belton with his shoulder / clavicle / collarbone, whatever you want to call it. Okay. He's back. Okay. So I'm very, very excited to see him. And I'm very excited to see how a Wink might wind up using him. Okay. On the defense. Interesting to see, because if we have, say, Xavier McKinney and Julian Love as our two safeties, might he try to maybe bring Dane Belton down in the box, okay, and try to have him cover McCaffrey, because Crowder and Calitro, good tacklers. I love their attitude and blah 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 and all that stuff, and they're going to have a hard time covering McCaffrey. Okay. So maybe, we might get some use out of Dane Belton, maybe bring him in the box, help support the run game. Okay. But if McCaffrey's out of the backfield, maybe Belton will be on him. Okay. Because if a Calitro or Crowder got to cover him, it's a mismatch. All right. Devery Hamilton was limited in practice, but his game time status is there's nothing there. It doesn't say doubtful, questionable, nothing. So hopefully he'll be playing. All right. Then we have Kadarius Toney. He's questionable with his hamstring injury. And I heard it was a hamstring, could be possibly more. I'm going to go over that in just a second. The Panthers have nobody who's out. All right. It's kind of like got that last couple year flavor, especially last year. The Giants would have like 6, 7, 8, 10 guys listed on their injury report. They have 3 or 4 or 5 guys who are out. Some other guys were questionable, doubtful. Then you look at the other team, and they got one guy questionable, one guy doubtful. Well, that's how it is this week. Linebacker Brandon Smith, he's doubtful, and the wide receiver Smith, he has a groin injury. Okay, he's questionable. Okay, but Taylor Moton, offensive tackle, he's good to go. Christian McCaffrey, they were just resting him. Okay. Frankie Louvu, he's okay. And Marcus Haynes, defensive end, he had a hip problem, but he's full participant. So as of right now, the Panthers have nobody out. The Giants have 4 guys out. All right. As I said, it has a little bit of a flavor from last year on there. Now we got once again Kadarius Toney. Was back on the Giants injury report on Thursday. A place he was spent most of the 19 games he's been eligible since the Giants made him the 20th overall pick. Absolutely unbelievable. Toney was listed as limited with a hamstring. Head coach Brian Daboll indicated Friday that it was the same leg that caused him to miss most of training camp. Maybe it's just a tightened up hamstring. Maybe it's a little bit more, Daboll said. He's in there getting treatment. We'll see where he's at. Toney missed most of training camp and did not play in the preseason, following the same pattern it took him during his rookie season. He played only 7 snaps in week 1 against the Tennessee Titans. Last season, Toney played in only 10 of 17 games. And I mean, out of those 10, he played in the first drive of the game against the Rams, and so he basically missed 95% of the Ram game. But because he played in one drive, they included him in there. All right. Then you figure the first few games of the season, he was in there for like 20 snaps a game or something. So he played like a third of the games. So if you're saying 10 out of 17 games, I mean, he played in a grand total of like 300 snaps last year. Okay. Which if you want to say the Giants, just say they average 60 offensive plays a game, which would be a lot for the Giants for last year because they stunk. He was on like 300 offensive snaps, I believe it was. Now, as I said, if the Giants played 60 offensive snaps a game, that would be 5 games, 5 complete games he played in. All right. Last year, he had the cleat problem last year, like the first day of camp. He had a problem with his cleats. I mean, then he had COVID twice. Not once. Let's get it twice. He had a hamstring. He had a quad. He had an oblique. He had a shoulder. He had an ankle. And I think he had a wrist or something. He had 6 different injuries last year. I've never seen that before. I mean, listed on the injury report. You know, I mean, guys are banged up. Guys got this. Guys got that. But I mean, I've never seen a guy go out the whole season with 6 and COVID. So you go like 7. You know, the 2 illnesses with the COVID, and then 6. It's not like he had a hamstring 3 different times. You know, he kept tweaking it or something or whatever. He had a problem with his ankle. Maybe Saquon had the high ankle sprain. He comes back a little too soon, and then he has to go maybe back out again with the high ankle sprain or something. No, he had 6 different injuries. It's simply amazing how a guy can't even run a pass pattern without coming up on the injury report. Absolutely amazing. Kind of just makes you kind of wonder, you know, how he made it through like high school or college or anything. Simply amazing. All right, then we got now the Giants that got to try to, realize and understand they're winners. They can win. Okay, they got what it takes, as Brian Dable said, but they got to remain even keeled. It's a long season, 17 games. You learn from the good and the bad from week 1. Put the game behind you. Learn, take the education with you into the following game, but you got to remain even keeled, because if you start getting too high or looking past teams and this, that, and the other thing, you're gonna lose this Sunday. You got to remain even keeled. Okay, they got what they should do. I mean, hopefully, the fans go freaking ballistic this Sunday, right, and help the Giants out. Let the fans help motivate you, but they got to stay grounded, even keeled. All right. Let's see here. But the critics be damned, because that's precisely what head coach Brian Dable's gritty squad did, riding high on their own confidence, right, and not being afraid to stand toe-to-toe with the last year's top playoff seed in the AFC. All right. While the Giants' win last week isn't close to the magnitude of a Super Bowl win, the concerns about a hangover have certainly been there. Yep, absolutely. The Giants team for so long has had to trek through the misery of one losing season after another that it's only natural to wonder how the team might handle its first taste of success in the Dable era, as it seeks to start a season off 2-0 for the first time since 2016. Now, I'm going to go over this a little more in detail here, the 2016 season, okay? Especially because the coach in 2016 was Ben McAdoo. Among Dable, many messages to the team, which apply regardless of the previous week's outcome, is to take the lessons from the past, learn from them, and then just move on. There need not be any hangovers or premature bookings of hotel rooms at Glendale, Arizona, where the next Super Bowl will be played. All right, just be a pro. A signage around the Quest Diagnostic Training Center consistently preaches, that's good. Message received. It's a big win for us, but it's one game. Quarterback Daniel Jones says it's about what we do now. It's just one game. We haven't done anything yet, so we're focused on this game coming up. That's right. I mean, the games come, once the season starts, guys, it's amazing how fast Sundays roll around. You blink your eyes, and before you know it, quarter of the season will be over with. Len Williams says, just go back to the process, added defensive lineman Len Williams. That's something that we've been harping on since we've been in the building, since OTAs. That's something that head coach Brian Dable and the players have all bought into, that it's not really the results, it's the process. I think we know as a team that although we got to win and we're happy and excited to start season off fast, there's a lot of stuff that we have to clean up. Absolutely. And you got to make sure you remember. I mean, this is it's the NFL, but you can call it the NPL, the National Parity League. That's what the NFL wants. Parity, right? And it's never more so on any given Sunday. Anybody can beat anybody. As you say, the Giants haven't had a winning season since 2016. Went into Tennessee, didn't just walk in there and kick ass. It was a hard-fought victory. But they went in there. Right? I don't think anybody gave the Giants a chance to beat Tennessee. Right? But, they won any given Sunday. And that includes this Sunday. The Giants take Carolina, too easily, or overlook them or whatever, they're going to lose. Straight up going to lose. They'll be 1-1. And it is one of those things. Once again, you look back at the end of this, and the season's over with, and you're like, man, we were 1-0, riding high. We had Carolina coming to town, right? We had our fans that were going crazy like that. We overlooked them and we lost. You know what I mean? Every game is so important. Every game is so important. Now, I'm going to bring a couple of things here. Jihad Ward, okay? Defensive coordinator at Wink Martindale revealed Thursday that Ward has been unanimously named the team's Week 1 Defensive Player of the Game. Unanimously. He's a physical, tough guy that is a character of what you're looking for as a defensive player. He sets the pace, especially in the run game, on setting the edges, which is huge, okay? Which is going to be huge again here. I mean, certainly want Derrick Henry getting outside, but you don't want Christian McCaffrey getting outside either. Funnel him inside, okay, where he runs into Leonard Williams and Davidson and sexy Dexter Lawrence, right? And Jihad Ward, he said he took it personal that game, and that's what he has made him who he is. Martindale also said something far more revealing about his personal feelings for Ward and his value to the Giants. Wherever I'm at, I hope I have Jihad Ward with me. Wow. That's saying something. Ward is not a Giants captain, but might as well be. He is a presence, a boisterous personality, unafraid to hold teammates accountable, a player who started his college career at Globe Institute of Technology, a Manhattan school that no longer exists. Holy crap. When the Giants had that massive training camp fight, it was Ward the team fed to a hungry media to send the message of unity it wanted sent. It was Ward who pulled head coach Brian Dable out of a media scrum Thursday so he could get to practice. Ward said he's just being the same old Hattie, which I guess is his nickname. I'm just being myself, to be honest with you, Ward said. I'm not pretending to be something I'm not. I'm just being myself out there. So let's see. Belton, now here. Anxious to see this here. Belton, rookie safety Dane Belt will make his NFL debut on Sunday. Yes. Very excited for that. Playing for the first time since breaking his collarbone early in training camp. Don't expect a big role for the fourth-round pick immediately. I think he's physical. I think he's fast. I think he knows the system, Martindale said. We've just got to knock the rust off him, which is true. So we'll see how he feels when he's out there, and we'll just slowly build with him. So interesting to see where they wind up putting him. Okay, he's not going to get probably a boatload of plays, right? But where do they put him? Anxious to see that. Now we got, and then they also get this there on Big Blue View. It says, ready for the gunslinger. Baker Mayfield will be a quarterback Sunday for the Carolina Panthers. Martindale faced him 8 times, okay, when he was the quarterback in Cleveland. And Martindale was the defensive coordinator with the Ravens. And Martindale said, I know him and he knows me. So it helps him too, Martindale said. He's one of those guys, and I've done this comparison before with him. And I said before, when he first came out and playing against them, he's a gunslinger. Who did that? They always called a gunslinger, former quarterback Brett Favre, right? So, but, I mean, let's not forget Baker Mayfield. I mean, he had a little bit of a rough outing first week against Cleveland, okay? I'll tell you what, it was like the last quarter is when Carolina just seemed to catch on fire and score points. But let's not forget, I mean, they looked a little rusty. They had like 4 fumbled snaps. I mean, Baker had anywhere, all right, from 4 to 6 passes knocked down at the line of scrimmage. So they had a rough time. Okay. But, Baker was not there all throughout the whole, summer and spring, learning the playbook and all that and everything. He came over, partway through. All right. So he hasn't had a boatload of time with the offensive line, boatload of time calling these plays, a boatload of time trying to, get confidence, throwing with his receivers, with Anderson, right? Moore. They got some good weapons there. So, I certainly expect Mayfield, as time go by, to maybe possibly play a little bit better and better. He's a gritty quarterback, right? He'll do what it takes to win. Okay. But so the Giants, have the work out for him, but they want to try to keep the dude in the pocket, even if they don't sack him or anything like that. Keep him in the pocket, and when he goes to throw the ball, get your hands up. Try to block. Try to knock it down. Then we have the 46-yard punt return. Yeah, unbelievable. You could just see the guys were just like, I forgot who it was. It seemed like the one guy who was trying to keep contained. He just got caved in. He actually didn't get caved in. He looked like he just expected the runner just to keep running straight. And I forgot who it was. I can't remember what number it was. But he went in, look, the guy was trying to keep contained, and the guy just ran around him. It's not doing a good job. Okay. With our lanes, keeping the lanes, not doing a good job at all. Not doing a good job at all. Thomas McGahee said this week that punter Jamie Gillian was a little off in terms of his ball placement on kicks against Tennessee. That likely was part of the problem on the 46-yard punt return. But it was also, missed tackles. Okay, there was missed tackles on the play, but also the guy should not have been able to get outside. Should not. I don't care where the frick you punt the ball. The guy shouldn't take it from basically the one hash mark, right, on the far side of the field and come all the way down the other side, to the other sideline. They should not be able to do that. That's and out why that happened? That's because the guys were not keeping their lanes. It's in McGahee said, it wasn't exactly what we want, and he knows it, McGahee said. A lot of times when you go through the process of making a change, it's one thing to go out there and hear and practice. It's a whole other thing to do it in the game and feel that game pressure. It's a whole different scenario. So he needs to get a couple more game reps so he can feel more comfortable. Well, okay. But, the guys got to do a better job, too, at keeping their lanes without question. Because that directly led to points. Without question. And in a one-score game, one punt return, right, that leads to points could be the difference in the game. So the Giants, without question, have to clean that up. Absolutely. Now, when the Giants, right, their old head coach is coming back to town, Ben McAdoo, right? What a well-timed visit for Ben McAdoo. Oh, yeah. The Giants just won their season opener for the first time in 6 years and boast a winning record at any point in any season for the first time since the end of 2016, when McAdoo was the coach. Back then, it seemed that McAdoo was long for the job, but he was fired before the second season ended. He had a 13-15 record overall when his locker room leadership collapsed, and he benched Eli Manning to start Geno Smith in his final game at the helm. What a way to end it. Unbelievable. McAdoo said it's been a bumpy road for the Giants ever since, until now. So, who can put an end to the end of good feelings? The Carolina Panthers visited Sunday, and their offensive coordinator was asked Wednesday what he learned from his stint leading the Giants. Well, probably having experience is a lot greater than having an opinion, McAdoo said. You really get a chance to find out what's important to you. You get an opportunity like I had in New York. You go in and apply things that you think you really believe in, and then you figure out what you believe in. It's a baptism by fire situation, your first chance to be a head coach in the league. There's nothing really that prepares you for it. Usually you fall back on things you grow up on and how you were raised. McAdoo sat out 2 seasons before returning to the NFL as Jaguars quarterback coach in 2020. He was an offensive consultant for the Cowboys last season, and he made his first return to the trip to MetLife Stadium, where he shook hands with the team owner, John Mara, during the pregame, but didn't address the situation with the media. So McAdoo said, I love New York. Got a lot of great memories there. A lot of great people there in that organization, McAdoo said. Right now, it's about getting ready to play a football game, which is true. Then we got after two seasons, the offensive coordinator for the Giants. McAdoo was promoted to head coach when Tom Coughlin retired. He led the Giants to their only playoff berth in 2016 since Super Bowl, right? The Super Bowl after the 2011 season. Only receiver, this is where Sterling Shepard and practice squad quarterback Davis Webb remain from the McAdoo era. Simply amazing, isn't it? How the Giants just don't have guys hanging around from one year to the other. I mean, a lot of it's got to do also with, you had McAdoo in there for basically 2 years, and you had Shermer in there for 2 years. You got Judge in there for 2 years. Now you got Dable in there. So the thing is like when you got new coach coming in, they want their own guys. If I'm going to go down with the ship, I want my own guys in here. So that's why a lot of the guys on the Giants roster don't wind up making it around very long, especially when you're hiring new coaches every 2 years. But it's just simply amazing, just to goes to show you how the Giants have just turned their roster over. Since 2016, we only got one guy on the roster, one guy. And we had, 2017, we had Evan Ingram. So we had one guy from 17, right, Ingram, right? And he's gone. And we had Hernandez was here in 2018. He's gone. So it's just amazing how the Giants draft these high draft picks, and they just don't re-sign them. They just let them go. But that 2016 season now, that was the Giants were 2-0. Okay, that season, the 1 point win over the Cowboys, then at home, a 16-13 win over the Saints. Then the Giants lost the next 3 games. Looked a little, started to get a little iffy there. All right, then they raffled off with 6 wins in a row. Okay, bunch of close wins. I mean, they beat the Ravens by 4. They beat the Rams by 7 points. They beat the Eagles by 5. They beat the Bengals by 1 point. Beat the Bears by 6. And we lost to the Steelers to make us 8-4. Then we beat the Cowboys 10-7. Beat the Lions 17-6 to put us up at 10-4. Then we lost to the Eagles, and we beat the Redskins last game of the season. All right. Then of course we got our asses handed to us in the boat trip playoff game to Green Bay. Right. But the Giants finished 11-5 that season. Right. Basically, out of the last 11 games, they only lost 2 of the last 11 games. So they were, they did a very, very good job. Won a lot of close games. The defense was very good. So you figure when 2017 rolls around, especially you figure like with the offense, because, still got Eli Manning there. 2017, we bring in Evan Ingram, right? Who's a nice weapon by himself. So you figure, we would certainly do, we had this pretty much the same defense. We added a little bit to the offense, right? So you figure, the Giants would do better. My goodness. Giants were 2-13 after 15 games. They won their last game of the season to be 3-13. But the Giants went from 11-5 to 2-13. Simply unbelievable. 2-13, and then they finally won the last game of the season, be 3-13. They started off, 0-5. Then they won. Then they beat Denver, right? Then they lost 3 more games to be 1-8. Then they beat the Chiefs at home 12-9 that overtime game, the battle of the field goals. Then they lost. They went from 2-8 to then they lost the next 5 games to be 2-13. McAdoo didn't finish out the season, but it just goes to show you what a difference a year makes. The Giants gave up 51 points to the Rams. They gave up 31 to the 49ers. They gave up 30 to the Cowboys. They gave up 34 to the Eagles. They gave up a lot of points. The Giants, toward the end of the season, didn't score much. They're just what a unbelievable what a difference a year makes. Simply amazing, But so the Giants got their work cut out for them. So tomorrow night, going to go over some more of the game, dissect, maybe like the offense and the defense, for both teams and everything like that, and see where we go, and maybe make some type of a prediction. I predicted last week. Actually, I made 3 predictions last year. the first 3 weeks of the season, I picked the Giants every week, lost every time. So, of course, this week, last week, I picked the Titans, Giants won. So, actually, I'm 0-4. So, I'm kind of thinking about maybe picking Carolina. Yeah, the Carolina will wind up winning this one, 24-20. All right, so then maybe the Giants will wind up winning. But I'll give a prediction tomorrow, and we'll go over a little bit more in depth and detail about the offense and the defense, maybe what the Giants might try to do offensively and what they might want to try to do defensively. But so it's been 30 minutes. All right. Anybody spent any time at all listening to me? Thank you. Anybody at all, okay, who going to watch the replay of this, watch a minute of it, 5 minutes of it, once again, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. You guys absolutely freaking rock. And as always, guys, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.